ticks and drips away. Days burn, disintegrate. Years roll along and fade. Don't let them slip away. Right here, right now, today. These are the good old days. Right here, right now, today. Hey, these are the good old days.
Hey! Well, gentlemen,
Back again.
we have survived it. We came, we Ronconned, and we conquered.
Yeah. We survived it. We experienced it.
We
That's
experienced
true. That is so
That
true.
is a lifetime experience right there.
And like it or not, a whole bunch of unwilling subjects, unwilling people were subjected to it as well.
I don't think they were that unwilling.
They were curious. They were intrigued.
Just the lady at Toys R Us.
Well, if you're going to put an axe throwing demonstration out,
What did...
we're going to throw axes.
Makes
Right?
sense.
I don't get it. I don't get it.
Right?
If she had moved the playhouse just a couple inches like to the left, it would have been a perfect backstop, so we weren't chasing the stuff down.
It's not like we missed that many times.
I also think that a company like Toys R Us or any toy store,
Yep.
in an interview, should be like, what's your past experience? Do you have any retail experience?
Right.
What is your current level of whimsy?
Yeah.
Level of whimsy to work at a toy store,
Yeah, true.
right? We'll just say some people are joining us here. So we have Cutthroat Comics is here. How are
Good
you, my
evening.
man?
Good evening.
We've got Michael is here. Good evening, y'all.
How are you, buddy?
And we got all of us here. People will be joining us as we recap what was Roncon, the experience.
And just a quick aside to that, all the footage that I took over the last footage and photos I took over the last 3 days, I have not got that off my phone yet. So you can look to our channel, Fandom Power, in the coming days for a recap video as well, which will include all of our footage as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I just want to, on top of that, I didn't realize that Andy was a sniper with his camera.
Oh yeah.
And it was, if I shoveled pie in my face, there it was, camera.
We probably got one of those too.
We do.
Yeah, he got it.
Shout out to Teddy's Delicatessen.
Holy crap, was that pie big?
Yeah, man.
It was huge.
So I was today years old when I learned that my man here, they don't have like what he calls sweet or dessert pies. It's all meat pies in Australia.
Oh, like
Yeah, I've never had a Canadian style pie before, so that was a treat. Coconut pie. Hey, how are you, Tej?
TJC.
So Roncon, like we said, it's the build up, the anticipation of it. Sometimes when something gets built up and you have that anticipation, sometimes the end result can feel like it was a little subpar. I would say this exceeded all expectations.
All expectations.
Absolute wild ride. Absolute wild ride. And thanks to you guys for coming down and hanging out with us and doing that.
Yeah.
I just
agree.
I would want to say, first of all, thank you for inviting us. We were more than happy to participate, and I feel we were lucky to be a part of this. You could have picked anybody. You could have invited anybody. You chose us two schleps, and it was great.
It was great.
It was great.
It was a surreal. Again, expectations were high, and we have people that have an appropriate amount of whimsy, like the four of us.
Yeah.
Can maybe, to our own detriment sometimes overhype things.
Right.
But I think the way it was rolled out with a bunch of us met at my place to start. We just kind of had this cool getting to finally see people face to face we've never seen before. So Phantom Power was there, Go Figure was there, Sizzle's Clubhouse was there, Corbra Lang was down here. Hero Nonsense was down here.
Gaz in Spirit.
Gaz in Spirit and Nate in Soul.
Yeah, right.
We're down. And then we were able to bring some of our kids along with us.
Yes.
For that experience. So it was great. And so then day one, we went out to the 400 Market in Barrie, and then a couple antique malls, and then a comic book store, and just a bit of a toy hunt. And Gaz was not able to join us at Roncon,
but we repped. If you can see, where is it on the back?
It's right here.
We definitely repped him.
Yeah, Gaz helped make it possible.
He was represented.
Yeah, he was represented.
Shirts provided to us by Fandom Power Podcast.
Fandom Power came here.
The best podcast that is Fandom Power.
31% less beard now.
I'm 33% more beer. Thanks to you guys.
Absolutely. And it's one of the things as a guy who kind of was on the organizing end of it is you want to ensure everybody has a good time.
He delegated a few things, but go ahead.
You almost feel responsible to some extent to make sure everybody's having a good time.
Right.
And with the nature of the first few places we stopped for a toy hunt, it was such a shotgun blast of stuff from all different walks of life. Seeing everybody picking something up and getting a little win, that was a big deal for me. And I don't see a TJC logo on those shirts. No, I feel left out.
No, Teach. Gaz was meant to be here at Roncon.
Supposed to be in person.
You weren't left out. Gaz just was not able to attend.
Yeah, a last minute.
Right.
It's world events, right?
You know, but he brings up a good point, because that's something that we can talk about. This being our first time getting together like this, and it was a weekend of firsts, I think.
Mm-hmm.
That means we have to do this again in some capacity.
Oh yeah.
Not just the virtual events, but more physical events.
Uh-huh.
That being said, we have so many more YouTuber friends that probably would love to participate in the virtual stuff.
Exactly.
So I feel like I don't think I'm out of line when I say, Tej, stay close to the keyboard, my friend, because the planning committee will be reaching out fairly soon.
Absolutely.
I've already been thinking about possibly a little Roncon Christmas situation.
Oh, that would be so much fun.
Oh yeah.
Right, get something happening that way.
So yeah, don't feel left out. There are plenty of ways you can be included.
Yeah, absolutely. And again, this is like, not a trial run for us, but like it was we tested a few things this year. Beta tested a few things, which were great. But one of the things that we'll get to it when we get to the series of events. We'll get that. Oh, hold on here. By the way, Adam, I have that. Oh, beautiful.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So Tej had a buddy who was selling some stuff, and
That's great.
The last GoBot I needed from my childhood GoBot collection was Zero.
Is that so? Really?
Yeah. And so he had it there. So Tej has got it for me. So thanks, buddy. I appreciate that. I'm famously, by famously I mean you guys know, I am a GoBots and then Transformers. So GoBots are here, and then just right here are Transformers.
You know who owns them, right?
Yeah, I know that
just saying.
In a corporate 2025, yes, I know. But 5-year-old Adam in 1986 was all about the GoBots.
Man, I kicked the crap out of my Hot Wheels with my GoBots.
Yeah, exactly.
Pull over, citizen. No, guess what? Stomp.
Beautiful. So we went to the Forder Market, and had you guys ever been there before?
I had, but not in many, many years.
Yeah, so for me, my last visit to the 400 Market was when I lived on that side of Lake Simcoe, so about a decade ago.
Okay. I've never been. It was an experience, that's for sure. I did not anticipate it was almost like a treasure hunt of a place where you don't know what any corner is going to get. It's not separated into certain things. It's not toys are over here, furniture, antiques, whatever over here. It's all like everything could be anywhere.
Yeah.
Don't forget the meats and the meats.
Yes, there's everything at the Forder Market, from someone just like giving back massages to Persian rugs to meat vendors.
Yeah,
tattoos, blankets.
Yeah.
All
if you're
your
looking
needs
for
can
an
be met.
airbrushed wolf on a fanny pack or a vintage stormtrooper, the Forder Marketplace is the place for you.
Yeah. No, exactly.
or a giant power sword.
Yeah, so Corbin, big boy purchase of Roncon.
Yeah.
We went to one of the couple sword vendors they have there, because you need a couple sword vendors.
At least.
Yeah, at least. And we saw the new He-Man power sword to scale.
Mm-hmm.
And he was like, "Hey, you seen that?" And I was like, "Yeah, if I was gonna get a sword, I'd do that and hang it on the wall right there by the Motu collection." So I was like, "Hey, can I see it?" And they brought it down, and it was heavy. Like it was a heavy sword. And I looked at it. It's very cool. Took a picture with it, and then I was like, "Yeah," but the price was just like. And he went to go put it back, and Corbett Lang says, "No, I'm gonna buy it."
It was it was a surprising purchase to be sure. I won't mention how much it cost, just in case.
Yeah, in case people are watching that don't know. But it was a big boy purchase, and and then maybe the best moment of that first stop. And I'll say Corbett Lang was like a little bit reserved, like he's a bit of a quieter fella. But then he went into this like demonstration with the sword skills.
Right.
And some fella nearly walked into the sword like that.
You can watch for that in our recap video because I have the footage of that.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
I actually have him spinning it as I'm walking up, and I see the guy dodge. Did he say anything? Nobody said anything.
What do you say to that?
Out of my way,
you bull. Corey hung out with us for the day. Like anytime we were on the road, he rode with us,
right?
In the van, and what a super nice guy! Like,
absolutely.
We are already brainstorming when I'm in the Niagara region how we can get together and either do some toy stuff or get out and have a meal or something like that. So I'm very much looking forward to that.
No, he's a beauty guy, and he does stop motion. That is crazy. So
he showed us a couple of them there.
Yeah, he did some.
To check out more.
Some fantastic Motu wrestling.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It was awesome.
Favorite stuff.
Visto one.
We knew as soon as we were going to do this here in Canada that he had to be a part of it.
Yeah.
It was a no there was no way it wasn't going to happen without him.
Yeah. It was a Motu heavy weekend. Motu purchases for both Corbett Lang. I got some Motu stuff.
Yeah.
And that was how Classics was my jam. Anybody who's collected Masters Universe action figures, you probably heard of Masters Universe Classics, the direct-to-consumer subscription line. I canceled my subscription around 2015 because they just were messing around not hitting the remainder of the core cast. Right. And I was tired. I couldn't be an all-in subscriber anymore. Just could not afford to do it. So I'm like, I'll cherry pick what I can get on the aftermarket, which I absolutely regret now because of the pricing.
That stuff shot up so fast. Well, I think we were discussing, Wes, that a classic Scareglow
is worth more, can cost you more than a vintage one.
Yeah.
Nuts.
Yeah. But just like with the vintage line, two of the last figures in the line before they handed the license over to Super 7 was Laser Light He-Man and Laser Power Skeletor 2-pack, which I picked up for a song at $95 Canadian. So yes,
nice.
You had to go into that to find that treasure.
Yeah, it was at the very back corner,
and it's such a like there's one entrance in,
there's
stuff all around the outside, but you go in and it's like, oh, you got to go through this little almost maze to get to the back corner where there's even more.
I was gonna say, when you say go in, so people that haven't been there know it's in the middle of a big flea market where a guy has almost made a maze of detailed cabinets.
Yeah.
Right, and so you kind of go and walk around them all there, and it's tight, but he's a lot of stuff in there.
I was asking him about his footprint in the building, and because I remember him from toy shows that we had attended in past years, and we talked about, I remember you gave me a pretty good deal also on some Motu stuff a bunch of years ago, and he was talking about how he doesn't really do the big shows anymore because it's too expensive to do. So I said, well, what's the rent like here? And he's like, well, it's okay, but then he said that footprint, that was 6 booths. I'm like, this is 6 booths all together. He's like, yeah. I'm like, no wonder it's so big.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
but like not just eye level.
No,
there
like
was like
to the ceiling,
almost to ceiling.
Yeah. And you had some dealings with that fella as well.
Yeah, so that same place, they had a pretty good collection of G.I. Joes for sale, and I managed to find on our first stop a Sergeant Slaughter G.I. Joe.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty. I thought I couldn't quite see the price on the tag, and I thought it said 75 on it, and I'm like, there's no way I'm going to pay 75 for a Sergeant. I mean, I'm crazy. I have a sort of disorder, but I'm not that crazy.
And it was a triple T Sarge.
It was triple T Sarge. But then I asked him if I could take a look, and I was able to get a close look at the price tag, and it was only $45. And I thought, well, $45 is still pretty much on the high end. Managed to get a deal on it though, so it was. I brought the price down, but it was I got it down to 40,
right,
from 45, which I thought was not too bad. Not too bad.
And I think because you were willing to pay a little more. Tell me if I'm wrong, but you wanted to get at least one Sarge in Canada.
Right. So yeah, I did, no spoilers for later. But I thought this might be the only one I see, and I want to have one. And I think I can reconcile $40 for this Sergeant Slaughter to have one to say that I picked one up on Roncon. Little did I know we'll circle back around to that in a moment. But it was definitely, for my first pickup, was appropriate.
Right. And so then after we. You got some legends, didn't you?
I did. I got a astral form Doctor Strange from the Dormammu wave.
Yes.
So the head should finish my Build-A-Figure.
Beautiful.
You bought a translucent action figure, and I'm not unfriending you for that.
Well, he's not fully translucent. He's just
mostly translucent.
He's lessened, and I think that's weirder.
Oh man. So after we did that, and we went then next door to the antique mall.
Right, which was even a bigger maze with even more stuff sporadic.
Yeah. My favorite moment, though, and nobody bought any, but we all walked in, and right when you walk in, there's one Detolf cabinet full of Hot Wheels.
Right.
From all
double wide,
eras.
though.
Yeah.
It was a double wide Detolf. And
it was double wide.
Jam-packed.
And they were like sorted by color.
Yeah.
And all of us were like, I had that one. We spent about 10 minutes looking at the Hot Wheels we used to have.
Reliving our childhood.
Yeah.
What I liked about that is very organically, we got to throw a virtual spiritual shout out to Gaz as we were ogling all of the
Megaforce.
The Megaforce Hot Wheels.
Well, we did get to throw out a spiritual in spirit for Hank. When we were talking to that guy, I looked over, and lo and behold, there's a Funko Pop on the shelf, and it's like Hank.
Oh, Hank, yeah.
Yeah. Hey, buddy. It was we always finding stuff for other guys to buy real quick. But the antique mall, again, is a bigger maze. And it has, and this is the thing, sometimes we go into places when we're looking for toys, and we kind of like hyper focus on, we're looking for our toys. And so when we go to the toy shows and the comic book stores and stuff, we kind of do that. Going to the foreigner market and the antique world mall, you get sidetracked by looking at old phones, or like,
oh my gosh, yeah.
Just like my son picked up an antique camera.
Yeah.
So that was pretty neat. He was also very tempted on a cardboard cutout of
Sheldon Cooper.
Yeah.
I saw that.
We can't take that back with us. We picked up a great looking camera. He's into the vintage style cameras. I don't think it does anything except being a nice display piece. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's part of a future Jimmy Olsen cosplay, I think.
Right.
Yeah.
There was a lot of stuff in there. I was shout out to Ari, who came with us from Heroic Nonsense. Also does a really cool stealth camping channel. But Ari was pointing out a bunch of stuff that he used to have as a kid. And then he'd go, my mum at our house, we would have this. And I used to have this toy box, or I used to have this exact thing. And mum used to have all this. And I was just convinced that they just all took all his stuff.
Yeah.
And filled this place with it.
His parents had a booth there.
He was great. He was also great to hang out with, too. Good bloke.
Yeah. It was a lot of fun to do that. And so then I made my first pickup of the day there. Hey, G-Force.
Hello.
G-Force very soon. So I have my Mego Planet of the Apes on a little shelf on my wall here. But above it, I have empty wall space. And the idea, my original plan was to get a Planet of the Apes poster to go above them. And then I was like, which one do I get? Because there's like really cool vintage looking ones. And different styles came out then. So I was like, maybe I'll get smaller posters and kind of do a number of them. And then I was able to find this little number here, this vintage plant
What
style
a beauty that is.
Mhm.
in French, like the original novel was written in French. So I chose to get the French one as a little nod to the original novel. So that's going to be going up on the wall soon. So they just had a lot of cool stuff there. My kids got some stuff. My daughter got some Funko Pops.
Yes.
Going on there, and it was just a great time.
Yeah, great day. Great first day. Where was after that?
Well, then we went.
After that was lunch.
Yeah, we said to
Right.
oh, we've got Phil is in the house.
Phil, what's going on?
And after that, we went to lunch because your son said to me, he goes, "You know how Australia is known for meat pies and sausage rolls?"
Yeah, pretty much.
And I said, I lied to him and I said, "Yes, I know that." And then he said, "What's Canada known for?" And as a group, all the Canadians just said poutine at the same time.
Right.
So he said, "Where can we go get him a good poutine that has options for other people?" So we went to a place in Canada called Harvey's. It's like a fast food place, but maybe an upper tier.
Also very Canadian.
Mhm.
Very Canadian.
Harvey's.
And so Xavier had poutine, loved it.
Yes.
And so he's in. He's good to go. So we had lunch, and that's where in line a lot of people were asking about Roncon.
Yes.
That's
We had
so
a few
true.
people asking us at the previous place too.
Yeah.
But they were people that worked there, right? This was the first time
Yeah.
I saw just a stranger in the line approach Wes and say, "Hey, what's this Roncon about?"
She was very, very curious and not wanting to sound like a complete moron.
Impossible, Wes.
I had said to her that this was a gathering of like-minded YouTubers, some of us from all over the world. It's our first time getting together physically, and we're doing a mix of in-person events and live streaming. And today just happened to be a pretty good toy hunt. So she was a little bit tickled by that. I thought she liked it. So
Yeah, perfect interaction. But it was surreal for me and Adam looking back at that interaction happening, knowing that this came from nothing, and now people outside of just us two are having a conversation about it over there.
Yeah.
That was really mind-blowing.
Yeah.
Great to see. Is this the place that Xavier bought the hot dog?
Yes.
Mhm.
So my son bought a hot dog, and the options that were available to him were just vast.
So Harvey's gimmick, for those that are not in Canada, is that if you order a hamburger,
Harvey's makes your hamburger a beautiful thing.
if you order a hamburger, it's not necessarily just like when you order something from McDonald's that comes with, you pick all your toppings one by one,
Yeah.
almost like a Subway.
They literally build it in front of you.
Right.
Yes.
And so Xavier got a hot dog, and the lady said to him, she opened the bun and said, "What would you like on it?" And he looked at me and went, "Oh." And I think he was a little struck. "Oh, there's the retro tinker. He's here.
Hey,
Morning, everybody. Morning, Nate." And
Oh, thank you.
thank you, sir.
and so Xavier then said, "Well, I guess I'll have lettuce,
And it's hot dog. Yep.
and then onions,
Mm-hmm.
and then olives,
Yeah. All the olives.
and then jalapenos." And then he said, "And how many sauces?"
I love the question.
And then she goes,
How many
"As many sauces as you want." And he goes,
Unlimited.
"Yeah, I guess I'll have barbecue and ghost pepper sauce." And then she closed the hot dog, looking at him, and she's like, "In all my years of Harvey's, never have made a hot dog like this." And then he looked at me and just went, "I panicked." Oh, so it was good. But he said he liked it. He said he liked it a lot.
That is true.
Yeah.
Phil knows. Phil's experienced it firsthand.
Yeah, no, it's I want to say I've had you in my home before for an extended period of time, and I knew that this was going to be the best.
Yeah.
Having your son here has been an absolute treat.
Oh, thanks, buddy. What's
it's
been an even bigger treat is seeing our kids interacting,
Mhm.
having a great time getting along, watching them go on their own adventures while we were doing our toy hunts, and having them enjoying that experience, I think was really heartwarming.
Absolutely.
I have to say, as a father of older kids, they who have no interest in my stuff.
Right.
I got to live so vicariously through your two boys and your daughter who were into everything.
Yeah.
So it was like yesterday at lunch, sitting there beside Grayson, and we just had this like complete like Transformer nerd moment where I thought, oh, we are kindred.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. So after lunch, we went to a place called Sanford and Son.
Oh, yes.
30 seconds, no stop.
That's too good.
Yeah.
Super easy to get lost in there.
Oh, and I did.
Yeah.
Several times.
No, we tried to stay together as a group in that store for about 30 seconds, realized that was a moot point.
Yeah.
And then we were just everywhere. But again, it's a big market where people rent space. And so there's so much wild, crazy stuff going on there.
Was this the one that had the magazines?
Yes.
Yes, it did.
A lot of Playboys.
Yeah, Playboys in every corner of this place.
So, and this was where another place where Ari was like, oh, I had this toy car as a kid.
Yes.
So Zazel and I were around a door frame, but like with an earshot. We were still talking to Ari. And Zazel said, oh, look there's more vintage Playboys over here. And then Ari, we didn't know, was looking at something else. And he said, oh, this is the one I had as a kid. And we were like, what? And we turned in the corner, he's holding like a toy car.
Yeah.
Like,
We thought he meant the Playboys.
Yeah, it was very funny for a second. We cleared that up. But it was great stuff, and people found some treasures there as well.
They sure did.
And again, it's one of those places that it's just, you walk around and it's just cool to see stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Ari and I actually went on a little adventure outside while everyone was paying for their stuff. I hate to jump to the end of it, but we went on a little adventure because there's a train track there. And
yeah. So
we walked over to the train tracks because he's really into stealth camping. So I wonder if there's anything stealthy here we can camp. And as we were walking, we saw a torn packet of a condom and a very dirty mattress. And he says, well, not stealth camping here. There's already seen too much action. Yeah. Hey, Kiwi's here.
Yeah, absolutely. But yes, we finished up there. And again, if you're in the area, go check it out because you just get lost looking at all kinds of stuff.
After I got home on Sunday there, they had posted at the cash register, if you haven't checked it out, go check it out on YouTube. Paranormal group had come in and done an investigation there.
Oh, really?
Okay.
Yeah. And I went and watched that. I'm like, oh, I was in that booth. And sure enough, it's one of the ones, and there was a doll there, which they ended up taking home with them.
Oh, really?
Because there was apparently a spirit attached to it.
Okay.
So
well, I'm glad it wasn't there then.
yeah, it was already gone by the time we got there, but the toys were still there.
Yeah.
I got to find out as I'm standing on the staircase waiting for people to check out. Adam looks over at me. This used to be a slaughterhouse. I'm like, and I didn't know what to say. I was so enamored with the brick wall that had probably 100 or more drywall anchors beaten into it with nothing hanging. And I'm like, I wonder what happened to this wall. And Adam, just out of nowhere, this used to be a slaughterhouse. And I'm like, it doesn't smell like a slaughterhouse.
I brought my son with me, Cutthroat Comics, and from all accounts that I can tell, and everything that he said, he's had a fantastic time. Loved meeting everybody, hanging out with everybody, and collecting some little special things along the way.
Yep. Now, anybody who's into toy collecting has their places to go. They have their routines, their local areas. And when you go to a new place, a new town, you're always looking up vintage toy stores or comic book stores. So we've all been to a lot of places. Yeah. After Sanford and Son, we went to what I think is the cleanest, sharpest comic book store that I've ever been to.
Yeah, it's been a long time since I've seen anything that is that polished.
Yeah.
Organized, well displayed.
Yeah.
We went to Big B Comics in Barrie. Not Barrie, in
yes, we did.
Barrie.
Yeah, it was in Barrie.
Big B Comics in Barrie, and just great staff, great layout, and great stuff. The store was full of great stuff.
Oh yeah.
And appropriately priced as well. Like nothing was outside, like reasonable conversation.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, we're all toy guys, so we all use the same tools, and so like I immediately am on my phone, eBay sold, and I'm like, okay, we're not out of question here, which convinced me to pull the trigger on my
Well,
on my next trigger.
The journey there, Wes's retail journey.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely right.
He went there. He's like, "Oh, look at this!" And it was a Black Series Clone Wars Obi-Wan, correct?
Yeah, he's a few years old, and I missed him. He was kind of hard to find here in Canada.
Yeah, and so like within a minute, he inside the store he found him. He says, "Oh, look at this! This is great, but look at the price." And I was like, "Yeah, it's." And by the end of there, Wes was like, "Yeah, but it's actually pretty on the nose. Like this is what they're going for."
Yeah, this is what they're going for. So that's convinced me I'm not going to find it at cheaper. Although that I should say that Clone Wars Obi-Wan is about to get reissued in a 2-pack with a clone, and it'll probably be $75 brand new with another figure. But you know me, collector, it's here now, and so am I. So okay.
There's something about, maybe this is just me.
Oh, thank you very much. Thanks, Kiwi.
Kiwi, you will not regret it. It is an incredible show.
Yeah,
that these two guys and a third legend put on. And let me pump your tires a little bit. The most polished, well packaged fandom podcast, I've ever seen.
No, absolutely,
it's
absolutely.
great.
Oh crap! Now we got to perform.
Get sucked in.
we got to deliver now.
They just set the bar way too high.
But there's something about like I wanted to get something that day because I was with you guys. Yeah, like, there's something about we want to pull the trigger and take something home to say this is what I got at Roncon day one. So there I picked up a Wicket and a Princess Leia. From the
Sweet,
yes, nice.
Yeah.
Corey ended up grabbing a gas station Firestorm, did he not?
Yes,
yeah,
that was cool to see.
Yeah.
I thought about Phil, who learned what those were on Zellers with the Fellers, the slim gas station superpower cards that were available here in Canada. And so he picked a Firestorm up, and he picked up an Eco Warriors Flint.
Oh yeah, he did.
Carded Eco Warriors Flint.
So cool.
Yeah, it was a cool day, and then.
Agreed.
Yeah. And then we came back after that. Hey! We came back here and just hung out and chatted and had some barbecue and just had the best time.
We fixed some album problems with some classical albums.
Oh my gosh. You mean Unload Your Illusion?
That's right.
That was brilliant. So a select few of us had some beers, but all of us...
And they were very tasty.
They were so good. But all of us partook in a great conversation that if you are a beer drinker at a pub, we sort of had those random conversations about, random things, and this time it happened to be music, which one of my favorite things of going to a pub is to have these random conversations. And this random one was what you would do if you had Use Your Illusion 1 and Use Your Illusion 2, and you wanted to smash them into one album. What would you keep and what would you cut?
Record.
And we had so much fun with that. We were going to wind up the night, but we had so much fun with that. We decided, okay, let's do Load and Reload by Metallica, and went through the same thing. It was an absolute blast.
I promise. Andy and I talked about this. For those of you who stream your music, we will publish on our socials as soon as we have it done. We are going to publish the Unload Your Illusion playlist with all the tracks that we narrowed those records down to.
Excellent.
What? More subscribers to the Fandom Power channel. That's what we're looking for.
Hey man, we are dropping subs left and right here for everybody that's joining in the chat. Thanks for showing up. Thanks for hanging out. We look forward to hanging out with you on your channels. You're watching for your stuff.
So I think next year's Roncon slogan, this year's was "There are no words yet for old friends we just met."
Yeah.
I think next year's is going to be, "Hey guys, I got to get going." ... 3 hours later.
Yes.
Because a number of time we were all saying, "Oh yeah, we should probably wrap this up. It's getting late," and then we just kept the party going. And I remember going to bed that night and saying to my wife, like, "What a great first day."
Yeah.
I couldn't have asked for a better first day of Roncon, but also being like, did we raise the bar too high day one? Did we?
It felt like it was a perfect. You couldn't script a better first day.
No.
We
had the perfect weather, and as soon as Andy rolled in the driveway to pick me up, I went outside and I'm like, something in the air.
Yeah,
This is great.
I definitely felt it. It was a absolutely perfect day, start to finish. It was like a bunch of old friends all getting together, like we've done 100 times. There was no awkwardness. There was no weird pause. It was all inclusive. Great conversations. Great hangout. Great food.
Yeah.
And I was too excited to even fall asleep. My son fell asleep straight away. He fell asleep while we were talking music, and I was like, that's what got us to wrap it up. I was like, man, I gotta get my son.
You went down hard.
Yeah, he did. I gotta get my boy home. Let's do it. Let's wrap it up.
So then the next day, on Sunday, we were setting up, and the event for Sunday was the Dungeons in Grayskull.
Oh my God, it was so good.
So good.
And we went to Goblins and Goblets in Newmarket, which is a great place to go and do any kind of gaming.
Amazing board game cafe. You must go.
Yeah.
Excellent service there too.
Excellent service. The food was great. But as good as that place was, the home run, the Joe Carter hit them all, Joe.
DM Dan.
Oh,
yes.
So good.
Dan is a friend of mine who I said to him, he introduced me to Dungeons and Dragons and playing it. And I said, would you Dungeon Master a He-Man themed campaign for us? And he said, yeah, I'll do that. But I don't know anything about He-Man. I got to check it out. And he did research and he did prep work. And we had counters and character sheets and dice and tokens and
maps
that should be award-winning in the world of Eternia, and took us on not a game, but a journey.
Yes, it was. It felt like it was a Elseworld proper Filmation cartoon. Now I hadn't played Dungeons and Dragons before, and my son, who has played Dungeons and Dragons, wasn't that familiar with Masters of the Universe. I blame myself. So I was trying to navigate the game, and he was trying to navigate his character. He got Stratos. And I got to say, I feel like he really was able to embody that character and do it justice without stepping outside of what would be reasonable for that character to do. I got Rio Blast, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, we did a bit of blind grab of.
I love that because Dan showed up with what, like 10 characters or something.
Yeah,
and we just like faced them down on the table. Okay, everybody, just pick one.
Yeah. So I now have on my desk a extra vintage Cyclone.
Oh yeah,
this is my character in the game, and I feel like I've in a deeper way.
I guess I got to get a buzz off like in frame somewhere.
Yes.
Yeah. There was no awkwardness because Nate wasn't here. Nate, prove it.
Awkward guy.
Prove it
next year. Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
Put your awkwardness.
Dude, you were a rock star, man.
No.
Yes, you were.
I missed it on the D&D.
Oh, that's okay.
But you told me about it on the.
I did. I was so giggly.
I'm sad I missed it.
No, and through the course of the adventure,
what a twist!
Yeah, there's twists at the end, but Wes, so He-Man, Prince Adam had been captured, and throughout the adventure, Wes acquired both halves of the Power Sword.
I don't know how that happened. What do you mean you're handing it to me?
Buzz-Off became B-Man.
B-Man.
Yeah, it was great, and Zazel started off being wise and noble.
Yeah, I guess it wasn't that wise to go. Do you reckon those skeleton warriors could be friends?
Yeah,
and not foes?
We stumbled across robots fighting skeletons on the way to Greyskull, and all of us were like, "Okay, how do we attack?" And Zazel was like, "Wait, we don't know that they're enemies. Why are we attacking?" And we all felt bad for a second.
Yeah,
and then we went down a different path. But by the end, we were welding extra guns onto Rio Blast.
Yeah, I ended up getting Megatron's fusion cannon attached to me, fused on by Roboto, powered by the Power Sword, and then channeled towards what was the end big bad.
The big villain.
The final scene was...
the twist.
The twist of it all was we were pulled through a portal to where He-Man was captured, and it happened to be a giant bedroom, and we were amongst the action figures of Cobra Commander, Skeletor,
Shredder, soldiers,
and Megatron, and a big cat. Just a big
the necromancer cat.
Right.
Yeah, and so we made short work of the necromancer cat by superpowering. I think Cyclone threw Buzz off with extra power.
Yes.
Megatron.
Yes.
Severed his ion blaster.
Yep.
And then Roboto welded it onto the back of Real Blast.
Right.
Powered it with all his extra guns, and we blew the cat apart.
Yeah.
Winning the game.
No longer concerned who was friend or foe. Just let's target.
Yeah.
Nothing but a flash burn in the shape of a cat on the wall.
Yeah. but I would say if we would have played Monopoly that night, it would have been fun with the people there.
Yeah.
But Dan, with his excellent prep work, took it to a whole other thing. Right?
I feel like that needs to be an event at next year's, whether it's the continuation of that adventure or just another, D&D, maybe a themed or some kind of role-playing game, because that was just sublime.
Yeah, I agree. I would argue that we need to continue the adventures of He-Man. That's a thread that I want to continue to follow.
Absolutely.
We'll see.
One noticeably absent toy, though, was Mum-Ra. So perhaps the remnants of the cat could go visit Mum-Ra, get resurrected as some crazy zombie mummy cat.
Oh, yeah.
True.
Now we're talking.
Now
it's instead of Mamut, it's a cat?
Meowmut.
Meowmut.
Mum-Meow.
Yeah, so we had a beauty time there. And then the next day, which was Monday, was our journey to Mecca. It was when we went to the birthplace of Roncon.
Yeah, Phil, I said the same thing. It's a crossover, not a mashup. So I'm cool with crossplay. I'm cool with crossovers. Mashups are where I'm like Turtles of Grayskull, get out of town.
That Battle Cat figure looks pretty good.
It looks great. Yeah. I love it.
Mind you, did the Four Horsemen did not?
They did a version.
Legions?
They did, and they did Purplor as well. Yeah. The cat.
Yeah. So we went to the store where the Ron mishap started.
The mythology, the legend.
I need a bit of backstory now to explain where Roncon even originated from.
That's great. We're gonna pull the veil back.
We're gonna ruin kayfabe.
Just for a moment. 25 years ago, Adam and I went to this store that we now call the Ron store.
Right after Joe Fest.
Where
we met for the first time. Where?
We met at the Sarge's house.
We went to Sergeant Slaughter's house for lunch, is where we first met in person.
Right. On the day that the Iron Sheik passed away.
Right. Aww. And it was a surreal event. And so we met Sarge, hung out with Sarge, and kind of, I wouldn't say like, oh, we're friends with Sarge.
Anybody who's watching for the first time just heard we're at Sergeant Slaughter's house and went, what?
Yeah. And so that happened. And then we went to Joe Fest. We met on the way to Joe Fest at Sarge's house.
Yes.
And we were familiar and kind of jovial with Sarge the whole time. And then you came back to Canada. And I said, there's this crazy toy store you need to come check out.
Yeah.
We went to the toy store, and there was a signed Sergeant Slaughter figure there, the 2006 convention exclusive. And the owner said, unprovoked, he said, yeah, that one's signed by Ron. And we both looked at each other and said, Ron Rudat didn't do this art. And he said, no, Sergeant Slaughter's real name is Ron. I know that because I take care of him when he comes to Canada.
Now, at this point, I could have just went, well, actually, it's not Ron. It's Robert Remus. And then just shut down this whole experience, and then that would have been it. But I decided, you know what? I'm going to let this guy have his moment, tell his story, and just have an experience here, and not be that guy that's like, well, actually, I don't want to be a negative Nancy. No, that's one name I'll call it. But so I let him tell his story, and because there was a real possibility that he just forgot that it was Rob, and said Ron. So I was like, his name's Ron, really, Ron? He's like, yeah. He lets me call him that. He goes, he lets you call him Ron? Yeah. I was like, all right, cool. And that experience turned into, and that's just the short part of the story, but that experience took to having a bit of a afternoon laugh together, because we had literally just spent lunch with the Sarge and hung out with him at Joe Fest, and it just felt like we couldn't pull the curtain back on this guy and let him know. So we let it happen, and for all we knew after that, he might have gone later on, oh, I said it was Ron. Dang it, I got it wrong.
Oh, he might have.
Well,
We might have.
cut to 2 years later.
So 2 years later of Roncon.
This is measurable in hours, by the way. This is just hours ago.
Yeah.
Hours
ago.
True.
And we have a new term of the shenanigans and hijinks we get into at Roncon. It's called Ronconery. Yeah. And you have to say it with a Scottish accent.
Ronconery.
I had a good day of Ronconery today. So we go to the store, and again, as being kind of the driving brain force behind starting this, I was like, I hope this doesn't disappoint. We had an incredible toy hunt on Saturday, like beyond expectations, D&G.
Yeah.
Then we're going to the Ron store. I'm like, we can't. I hope this doesn't suck.
Right.
So get in there, and we start. And a little segue. The first thing I saw when I went in there was after doing the Toy Biz streams with Zazel and reigniting our love for Toy Biz toys, and then coming off of Thunderbolts. Before the movie came out, we had both expressed our love for U.S. Agent as a character.
Yes, true.
And then Thunderbolts kind of cemented that. So we made a pact where we said, Zazel, I'm not letting you go back to Australia. You're staying in Canada until we both have a Toy Biz U.S. Agent figure. Thinking that would never happen and he'd be stuck here forever.
As much as I would love that.
Right. But he kind of stacked the deck against us because him and Phil were out, and he came from Japan and he brought me this Toy Biz US.
Look at how sweet that is.
Look at this. Just incredible.
From Japan, baby.
Japan. It's in yen. And then I walked into Rom's store, flipped through a couple pegs, and now Zazel also has one.
Oh, what?
So unfortunately, he's
Twins!
going home at some point. So right away,
That's a beauty.
Right away, I'm like, okay, this is not a bad thing. This is good. We're off to a good start. And then we're looking around, and we're all finding stuff, and we looked high and low for a Brad Turner.
Yes.
Zazel found 100 of them that weren't Brad Turner.
That's right.
But you never know. You just never know.
Right. But
If it wasn't Brad Turner, it was Peter Venkman.
Yeah, that's right.
Zazel went and started looking at the Joes. And then there was nothing signed, no Sergeant Slaughters there to be high or low.
There was no Sarges in the cabinet. There was a Canadian Triple T, but
And
no
the
Sarges
Marauders.
with it.
Yeah.
Yeah, the Marauders were there, yeah.
But no Sarge.
But there was a 3-pack of convention-exclusive Marauders there.
The Renegades.
The Renegades. Signed
By Ron.
by Ron.
Now, I'm starting to think maybe this Ron is a real person because it definitely wasn't Sergeant Slaughter's convention.
So to be fair, we didn't go in there being like, hey, how's Ron doing? We said nothing.
Oh, yeah, we
Nope.
said nothing at all.
Nope.
We just went in there and looked around. And Adam had an experience there that he told me before the Ron thing happened many years ago. And we hoped that I would have my own experience without initiating it. And that's where the first Ron story came from. We went in here in the same fashion. Like, we didn't walk in there with monocles on and go, hey, any of those Rons about? No, it was, we're just there to shop and have a look around.
We just let people.
Yeah, people will be peopling. So he comes along, gives us this, he says, he goes, that's signed by Ron. He lets me call him that, the same story. And I was like, okay, so he didn't accidentally do it last time. This is what he believes. So he pulled it out of the cabinet, and it was the Renegade 3-pack. Looked great from 2006.
You need to know, though.
Yeah.
When he said to you the second time Ron had signed it,
Yeah.
I went over and I was trying to not look at you. And Wes was also looking in a bin.
Yeah.
And he
I
goes,
was elbows deep in a bin.
And he looks at me and he goes, this is happening.
Yeah.
It's actually happening.
So it got me. So something happened that absolutely blew my mind. He had the signed Renegades, clearly signed by someone. Now I've had it. Hey guys, I've had. Oh, that's the gas. I've had many Sergeant Slaughter signatures come onto my collection, and got them signed in person at Joe Fest, and I have seen.
You've tasted and seen.
I've tasted and seen the Slaughter signature, and
we had a pretty good conversation about the evolution of an autograph,
right,
from someone's early days in their career to where they are now.
It's almost like the factory like quality of a convention where it's just push, push.
Yep.
So I've experienced those moments where, and Sarge does take the time to talk to people when they come and see him. He doesn't really rush them, but he does have a flowy way of doing his signature and a very distinct mark that he puts at the bottom, which looks like the big chin, the big jaw of Sarge. But this wasn't it. It wasn't on this one. And he goes, well, I can actually compare it with a picture that I have signed by Ron. And I put them side by side, and they were not only were they not the signature of Sarge, they weren't even the same two signatures at all between the two of them. So I was like, oh, okay. I said these don't really look the same though. And he goes, well, it's thicker textures, thicker pens. So I was like, all right, okay, all right. I never once said he was wrong because I wasn't there, so I can't authenticate it. But somewhere along the line, it was said that Sarge could authenticate it, and he said no, it doesn't. Sarge doesn't need to authenticate it. I can.
I can authenticate it.
I can authenticate it. So after that brilliant moment, I thought that was going to be the highlight of that. I thought this was great. Everyone's here with an earshot. We haven't set it up. He doesn't know we're coming. I thought that was going to be the best thing ever. I also thought that I wasn't going to walk away with anything. I looked around the store. Some great stuff there. There's something for everyone, but for me that day, there wasn't something for me personally. He had no slaughters in the cabinet. I asked the lady that was there, who was very nice, although apparently it was all an act, and that's what she said.
I'm not really this polite.
No, yeah, she did say, I'm not really this polite. It puts a lot of effort in to make this happen. So I said to her, are there any more G.I. Joes? And she said, no, this is it. No more than 5 minutes later, I'm standing next to our boy here, Andy, and we're having a casual conversation, and he comes along and he says to Andy, Andy, have I taken you downstairs before? And
I didn't even know there was a basement.
Yes, first I'd heard of it.
Yeah.
So I thought, I could be wrong, I thought, Andy, that you'd said, yeah, you had been down there. I'm not sure if you had or not, but I thought you had. And then he says to me, looks me dead in the eyes and says, do you trust a stranger enough to take you downstairs? And I was like, well, I didn't get this fat by not taking candy from a stranger. Let's go. So he took us down the stairs, and what opened up was a wonderland, like Wizard of Oz. The colors, even though it was really dark and dingy down there, but it was all of a sudden being in this mystical world where he had everything down there, all categorized, all alphabetized,
yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Alphabetized, all of that, right? And I was so distracted. He told me when we first got down there, watch your head. There's low beams and there's low lights. And there were low lights there too. Anyway, he said, watch it so you don't headbutt it, right? But I was so distracted by everything around me that he had to keep saying, watch your head, watch your head. Because I was just in every corner, just mystified. And I'm glad Andy was there, because it's the same reason why I was glad that Adam came to see Sarge, was because if I was the only one down there, I wouldn't be able to play off of how excited I was. So at any given moment, I was looking at Andy going, check this out, check that out. I was excited to see a Deep Six, for Pete's sake.
Yeah, complete with hose.
With the hose, which I hadn't seen before.
And that's because in Canada we're hosers.
Ah, your hoses, eh? And then I asked if he had any Sarges. And not only did he have some Sarges down there, he had all the Sarges. And I said, he showed me it, and I was just like, eyes opened, like as wide as they go. And I just shot my shot, shoot my shot, shot my shot, shot my shot.
Took a chance.
Took a chance, and I said, "Can I buy them?" Or in the words I would use, "Can I have them?"
Actually, I think your words were, "How much for the bag?"
Yeah. Well, there you go.
And
How much?
I think he thought you were joking.
Yeah, he did. He's like, "Yeah, funny."
And you're like, "No. How much for the bag?"
So eventually, so there were 4 bags, triple T Sarges, mail away Sarges, Warthog Sarges, and Marauder Sarges. Now he wouldn't sell me the Warthog Sarge because he only had one, and he wanted to keep one. He sold me out of the 3 of the Marauders ones. He sold me 2, and then he sold me a whole plethora of mailaways and triple T Sarges. And I was asked the whole day, "How many did you get?" And I don't know. I couldn't tell you how many I bought. I had to.
If you would have seen, because I was looking around and I was buying some stuff.
Oh yeah.
And actually, I took nothing for myself home from the store. But we got a bunch of stuff for some good buddies that are maybe in the chat right now and usually come to Zellers with us. So we were there, and I was like, "Where did Hazel go?" I'm like, maybe he got hot because there was no sergeants there, so we just left. I don't know, like, what happened? And he came around the corner from the basement with hands full and like arms and legs of sergeants out between fingers. And I was like, "What did you do?" He goes, "I don't know. We got to go work it out."
I saw the hands, and the hands were cradled, and it's like,
yeah,
are you carrying something, or are you having a heart attack? I couldn't tell.
Precious cargo.
Yeah. Oh, so excited. Yeah, we worked out a deal. I think by the end of it, I ended up paying out of pocket 150 cash.
Yeah, 150, I think was it.
Right. So that's a pretty good deal. That's a pretty good deal.
Yeah. You came home with 13 sergeants.
13 and a half.
Yeah, there's a bag of parts. We actually came home and we took bets. Like, he was, "How many do you think are in the bag?" Because I don't know.
I couldn't tell you how many I got.
I don't know.
Yeah, it was an out of body experience. I was like, we played a game when we brought them back. It was like, asked everybody around the table how many do they think is in the bag. I just couldn't tell you. I could say if I knew in the moment, I forgot by the time I got to the car. It was just.
It was at least 8.
Yeah, it was 13.
Yeah, 13.
Yeah, lucky 13.
Yeah. And so then after that, we went out to Teddy's Deli.
Yeah. So you guys, I wasn't sure what to expect. You guys recommended this place to go.
Sure did.
And in my head, I'm like, man, they better have a teddy bear on it as a joke. And they did. I was like, all right, well, I'm sold.
Yeah. So we had an incredible meal, incredible conversation.
Well, Wes sold it to me by saying that it was like having a home-cooked meal.
Yeah. And true to form, we had great deli sandwiches, great pie after. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
No strawberry, though. They ran out of strawberry.
Yeah,
but the coconut cream pie, I'll drive back to the Schwa for. It was that good.
Oh, yeah.
I was not disappointed with the coconut pie, but strawberry was...
And then the manager walked by and said, "What's the Roncon? What is a Roncon?"
Marty.
And so we explained to her what Roncon was. And she goes, "Well, let me take your picture by the tiger."
Mm.
And so we went over, and turns out there was a giant wooden battle cat.
Yes.
Yeah.
For us all to take our picture by.
Yep.
And so we got that, and they put it up on their Instagram.
Mm-hmm.
And so, you know, we're Roncon's making waves in the deli industry.
We are. Yeah. If it's food, if it's antiques, if it's in the lineup of fast food places, we're there. You never know where we're going to show up. And where do we show up after that? Toys R Us.
Went to Toys R Us.
They just top it off.
And for some of us to prove that Toys R Us, when we were kids, was magic.
Yeah.
And right now, the friendship is magic. Like,
I agree.
It was a little disappointing to go to Toys R Us and say, like, we had the best time at every other place.
Yeah.
But we did pick up some stuff for some buddies there.
We did.
Yeah. And so then we came home, and even after those 3 incredible days, I was like, okay, we're going to do our Swamp Thing live stream last night.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, my gosh.
And
that was fun.
Had a blast.
Yeah, had a great
Just
time.
a blast. So I think you're gonna see more movie commentary streams here on my channel, anyways, with many of these guests. Here's back Adam.
You would think Adam would be the one to get on the Tiger, but now that Wes is B-Man,
B-Man.
it's more appropriate. So I do intend on doing a follow-up. I've got some amazing stuff from some amazing friends that I want to show off. One of the last things given to me by Andy was the Gremlin, the Smart Gremlin. So I will be presenting all of these and giving everyone their appropriate accolades. But I thought that was just a very generous, personalized gift. And I looked at, as soon as I got it, that's all I was looking at. And I had a bag of Sargents.
Yeah.
So,
Whoa.
Yeah. So I think we're each channel is going to do their own kind of Roncon wrap up and kind of show the stuff that we got and do a little more. But we wanted to just kind of do this as a thank you to you guys and the guys who've been following along, and hope we'll see you there. Because Roncon is not dead. It is.
We'll be back next year.
We'll be back, baby. We had a great time.
I was going to say, with the proof of concept in the bag, there's only one way to go, and that is bigger, better.
Yeah.
So I feel there's room for more.
I say we put our first event on for next year as a toy hunt, looking for He-Mans with Dolph Lundgren. Wes, get him.
Go. You got this.
That's right.
Yes, we've got Joe Fest coming up too, so keep an eye out on us. You might just see us walk around with some Roncon.
Definitely Roncon is going to Georgia.
Yeah.
I gotta, and you have to take pictures. I need to see the shirts at Joe Fest because I can't be there, and I really want to, but alas.
I do want to say, to put a pin in maybe the most perfect thing about Roncon was everybody, it seemed like we ran into, mentioned the shirts. What's Roncon? What's going on?
That's true, yeah.
Except for the guy who coined Roncon by saying Sarge's name was Ron.
He never mentioned the shirts once.
There was 8 of us in his store with matching Roncon shirts, and he never once said anything about them.
Never. Once. That's on point though. That's very characteristically so.
It was perfect. So Andy, Wes, thank you guys for being here with us tonight. Thank you everybody in the chat for tuning in, and look forward for more Roncon updates. And we just had a blast. It was the best time. We're off to Joe Fest. We're doing it. This is it. We got our U.S. agent. Everything's great.
I'm so sad. I don't want to go.
Yeah. Welcome to Joe Fest. Let's go.
Yeah, there's room in the truck.
I don't know. If I leave, I should never come back because my wife, it'll be over.
Bring the wife along.
Just don't buy a power sword.
Yeah.
No, because if I buy a power, I already told you, if I buy the power sword, I have to buy the purple one. I can't just have one. I have to have them both.
Right.
So then you need the Havoc stuff.
And
then that battle cat from the
that's right. B-Man has, not only does he have the power sword, he's also got the Havoc staff.
Right.
Oh dear.
Yeah, all the things.
We definitely have to pick that one up.
All right, guys. Thank you for being part of Roncon. Thank you for being in the chat.
Of course.
Until next time.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.